Hello Racing, it's time for the World Series round 17 in Mexico at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. It's been a while since F1 has raced around here, although it's only been last night that the Front Row Racing gang raced around here in the World Championship. Now, I'm Front Row Racing at DP, otherwise known as Dave Lazenbeds, and I am on commentary this evening, as per usual, in the Front Row Racing World Series. But my usual co-commentator of Front Row Racing GP is not in the commentary booth with us this evening, because with him doing commentary on the World Championship for the last couple of races and the next couple of races, it means that he is taking up a reserve seat covering one of our other admins in the World Series. So taking his seat again in the commentary booth is Front Row Racing RI, otherwise known as Rachel Brooks, although we may have to get a new name for you if you're going to be in the commentary box, Ray. So how are you this evening? All good and well? Done a bit more homework for tonight's race, I hope?
I'm fine, no.
No? What do you mean, no? You've sat there. You're a busy guy. You sat there and watched all of last night's race. There's got to be something you spotted from that race that you could mention in this one, surely? Or is that Don't Call Me Surely?
No comment.
No comment. Fair enough. You may need to turn the volume down on the live stream you're watching, because I can hear myself. I can hear myself laughing as well. That's all right. Okay, I tell you what. It looks like we've had someone drop out of the lobby. Who would that be then? Because there was 14 in here. So Ray, if you could send an invite out. Let's see. Conzo, we've got Conzo, we've got Killer Corkin, a Razor, we've got him, Richie Davey. Is he our culprit? No, we've got him. Rickster's not available this evening. Farf, but he's not in at the moment. He's currently halfway through a match on FIFA. Jason has a reserve of Acorn 95 tonight. My bad, he's in. Hindle, there we go. Okay, so Ray, if you could send an invite to Hindle for us, please. Adam 4600, he is in. Charlie is in. Hybrid Nuke is in. Front Row Racing NW, his reserve is Front Row Racing GP, and then Andy Russell, who is also in. Okay, so it is Hindle that we are waiting on then. He was in a moment ago, but I've just, as I came back to look at the screen, I did notice that he has dropped out of the lobby, so I shall also send him an invite in. Now, last week he was on for a fantastic race, got pole position in the USA, and then got disconnected. And I tell you what, he's actually not showing as being online at the moment. Or it would just help if I actually look at the, instead of looking at the H's, look at the X, because it's X Hindle. Okay, and he is now back in, so I'll get him to pick his vehicle, and we will get going in a few moments' time. Okay, a couple of bits of information to let our viewers know, although Hindle has just gone again, so he will hang on a moment. He's definitely got some connectivity issues going on there, but we will hang on a moment or two. Okay, the World Series standings. Conzo leading the way by 44 points over Killer Corkin, the two teammates. If Conzo outscores Killer Corkin by 6 points, effectively takes the title with 2 races to go. Killer Corkin is going to need to win both races and effectively have Connor not finish. Although Conzo, I believe, does have a qualifying ban for this event, as does Adam 4600. So there is half a chance of Killer taking a victory here, which he needs to do. He did it in America, although no, it was second place in America, but I think Hybrid Nuke got a small penalty, which then put Killer ahead. So yeah, the title continues. In the constructors, there was a mistake made on the review. Red Bull have taken the constructors title. They are 159 ahead, and let's see, 159 ahead, and there's only 129 of maximum points available. So Red Bull take the constructors championship in the World Series. And what are we going to expect from this today then, Ray? Have you got any ideas or predictions of who may take pole position here or potentially take the win as we click ready and move on through?
I don't know, because I've not seen these guys. Seen these guys in practice or anything. Might have to come in for a couple of practice sessions and see how they get on.
Well, I'm not sure what Hindle's pace is like around here. I didn't really get a chance to see him much. I do know that Hybrid Nuke is fairly quick around here, but then I also know that in practice I had one of my spies watching his lap, and it says, yeah, he's quick, but there was a couple of corners where he was a bit off track, so he's got to tighten that up for qualifying here. But I think Hybrid Nuke has the potential of getting up there. But I actually think we could be looking at possibly Hybrid Nuke, Hindle, or even Front Row Racing GP for pole position here. I think they will be 3 of the 4 cars on the front row. I'm not sure how Killer Corkin's got on. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's the 4th car at the front of the grid. But it could all depend around here and how their tyres are and how their setups are. It's beautifully sunny at the moment, but if the temperature drops, it can hurt the tyres a lot. As for lap times, and it says up there, showers. But it said that yesterday we didn't get them clear and dry, but with possible showers later. Which means if it does what it did in the World Championship, towards the end of qualifying the temperature is going to drop, although temperature is actually looking pretty good for the next 45 minutes, so qualifying shouldn't be a problem. But in the race, if the temperature drops, having the right tyre pressures is going to be crucial, because I know for myself yesterday when the temperature dropped, so did my level of grip. Okay, as for lap times and what we can perhaps expect around here, they could get into the 16s. I mean, I was expecting mid to low 16s yesterday, but to be honest, my fastest lap wasn't a fully pushed one. When I went for the push, I ended up going off, so I abandoned it. Could have gone for another run, decided to save the tyres, and that's something the World Series drivers are perhaps going to have to think about here as well. In the World Championship qualifying, saw quite a few cars out on the prime tyres at the start of the session, and that was all about saving the option tyres for the race. But an interesting piece of information, the option tyres are the faster tyres, don't last that long. The prime tyres are the slower tyres, but are actually a very good race tyre around here. So it'll be interesting to see what possible strategies we have. We could have anything from 2 stops to 4 stops. So it's going to be very, very interesting and also difficult to keep an eye on. Okay, we've got Killer Corkin here. As he heads into the wiggly section of the circuit. I did have a look at what the corner names are around here. They're all in Mexican, and I thought, okay, I'm not going to try and translate those. So they are the S's. It's as simple as that. The only one we really need to bother about is the Mansell curve. Isn't that right, Ray?
Yeah, you've got the main straight, more of these salmon S's.
The what? The what? Sorry. Say that one again. The fishy salmon S's.
What? We'll call it fishy salmon S's. Trangera straight, the lake, the hairpin, then it's just the S's. The oval straight, stadium turns, and then the Mansell curve.
Yep. Now I know on the commentary yesterday you wondered about the oval straight. Basically, the start-finish line and the straight on the back of the circuit is part of an oval, a little bit like at Monza, although it is a much smaller oval. Okay, it looks like Hindle has left the session, so his connectivity issues are continuing on as Killer Corkin sets a Sector 1 time of a 22.9. Ideally, you want to be looking down in the very low 22s around here. Sector 2 as we head into the S's, 28s if I remember rightly. Oh, excuse me, low 28s if possible, 28.8 for Killer Corkin, and heads onto the oval straight, and the oval actually connects just behind his car there, and into the new stadium section, which is inside an old baseball stadium, which I do like the idea of this. I just don't like the corners that are in it. And then into the Mansell curve. Quite a tricky corner, a bit of opposite lock going on, and across the line for a 118.7. I think we will see that improved on. And Adam 4600's done a first sector of a 23.5, so he's off the pace a little bit. I want to see where Hybrid Nuke is, and here he is, 22.8. Yeah, 22.8 sector 1, 29.2 sector 2, but he's on the prime tyre, so that just goes to show how much time Killer could do with finding in that sector 1, because they've matched sector 1s, but Hybrid struggled in sector 2 and 3 on the prime tyre. But being the prime tyre, the second lap could be the faster one, but being the prime tyre, I doubt very much he's going to start the race on that one, unless he was wanting to get it out the way early on. Always had to readjust his line there. That'll have cost him a little bit. It's going to be in the high 22s, is it? 23.3. Okay, Acorn 95 just completed a lap on the primes. Now, Acorn 95 is in as a reserve driver in the Toro Rosso. Done quite well in the FRRI days recently, with Jason needing a reserve, which he let us know about a few days ago. I offered Acorn's name as an option, and he said, yeah, okay, because Acorn has done quite well, although he's struggling at the moment here. So I just hope for Acorn that he has a good race, records his footage, and that way, by recording footage, it can cover all ETL lifts. Now, my bad in the Williams, taking a little bit too much curb there. Another driver, he's not done a lot of laps around here, so I think Jim will struggle around this particular track. Jim's older than me, so he probably would remember the original circuit if his memory was that good. Some may think that's harsh, but Jim will get the connection of that one. So for Jim then, I think today's just going to be all about the experience and learning how to record. Adam 4600 always gone wide into the stadium section. A very tricky corner that turn 12 can be. With sector 1's a 24.0, sector 2 a 29.7. Always going to go wide here as well. And the sector 3 of a 28.3, so it's a 122.1 for Adam. That puts him in 5th place. Hindle is out of the session, and Eraser, Hindle has just rejoined. Eraser about to start a flying lap on his set of prime tyres, so I'm not surprised to see these prime tyres being used at the moment, Ray. I mean, if it was you on track, what would you do? Would you use up the prime tyres now and just save it for one run on the options, or would you be out there on the options from the start to get that lap in?
I'd be on the options. I'm not that good.
Well, the thing is, I mean, but being on the options and getting the lap in is not a bad idea, but if you want to use the options in the race, they're going to be have a couple of laps of tyre wear on them, and in the race you're probably only looking at 7-8 laps being the optimum amount on a set of option tyres. So if you go and do even just a one flying lap on them in qualifying, that's 3 laps. So you are looking at reducing the amount of laps you can do by, well, 2, 5 or 6 laps. I mean, if we take Bartman from qualifying yesterday, he did go for the additional run at the end of the session, got the pole position, but ended up pitting on the end of lap 5, I think it was, or the end of lap 6, but had to pit early because of the level of tyre wear on his tyres, and also going for the undercut. But that in the end led him to a 4-stop strategy. Okay, Eraser then coming around the Mansell curve, keeping it in the lines nicely, and up to the finish line, which is the same point as the DRS line, so 121.0 for him, and puts him into 5th place. Adam 4600 is down from Row Racing GP. Looks like he's about to finish a lap. He is also on the prime tyres with a first sector of 22.9, a middle of a 31.2. So I don't know if he's had a bit of an off there or whether he's just pacing himself on these primes. It's a 22.6. That should be improved on quite dramatically when he goes to the option tyres, although he could be going for another lap here. See how he gets on into turns 1 and 2. Yeah, I would say he's taking it a little bit cautious through there at the moment, but focusing on the exit of turn 3. What's the sector? It's a 23.0, so he is down a little bit. So I think it won't be long until he's in the pits. But I mean, if you're running the prime tyre, you can just chuck a bit of fuel in. If you're going to go for the last run with about 5 minutes to go, you can just go and pound some laps in, and get yourself warmed up to what the level of grip is at the moment, effectively. Hybrid Nuke is now on an out lap on a set of option tyres, so we'll have to keep an eye on him. Acorn 95's leaving the pits, also on a set of option tyres. Let's see if we've got anybody else on. No, it's a Hybrid Nuke at the moment, and Acorn will be the ones to keep an eye on. So let's have a quick look at the leaderboard. At the moment, we've got Killer Corkin on pole with a 1:18.7, Hybrid Nuke on a 19.0, Acorn 95 on a 20.4, My Bad a 20.9, and then Eraser Adam from Row Racing GP. Now, I'm wondering whether the Ferraris of Andy Russell and Richie Davey are going to opt to not... from a Racing GP has just improved as well with a 120.1. I'm wondering if the Ferraris have decided to not set a qualifying time, and perhaps Charlie as well, to try and start the race with a brand new set of tyres. It is for the last few races. Okay, on board with Hybrid Nuke then, as he starts his first lap on the option tyres, and if he can hook it all together, it could be mid to high 16s. We'll have to see how he gets on. So heading down to turn 1, hitting about 220 mile an hour, hard on the braking, clip the apex of 1, sacrifice exit to speed up through 2 and 3, but he's off the power. I don't think it's going to be the fastest of sectors, it's not, but it is an improvement for him, a 22.6. Then into the tricky turns of 4 and 5. 4's not too bad, 5's an evil little corner, and then we're into the double apex of turn 6. Used to be a beautiful corner, now it's just a tricky little sod, and then we're into the wigglies of turns 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. So see how he carries the speed through here. Getting the rhythm is so important to get to the left of the circuit here, to carry the speed through 10 and 11. Sector of a 28.3. Now we head high speed again to turn 12. You want to be early on the brakes, get it tucked into the apex curb, and then early on the power. Hard on the brakes and get that steering wheel spun around for turns 13, 14, 15 and the Mansell curve. This could be a quick lap by the time he has finished it. I'm going to predict a low 17. There you go, as low 17 as you can pretty much get, a 17.0. Okay, Acorn 95 coming through the S's. He's done a 23.1 and a 29.2 sectors. Not the fastest, but may be an improvement for him. But as at quite a lot of circuits, your second lap can often be the faster one. He's gone a little deep into turn 13. And into the Mansell curve he goes, so he may improve on his own lap, but if he can keep going for another one, he may be able to go even faster. So 1:19.3, so that is third place at the moment. Adam 4600 coming through sector 1 is a 23.7, struggling a little bit for speed through there. I'm wondering if he's running too high an aerodynamic setup. Hybrid Nuke now on an in lap.
Turn 3, he muddled it up a wee bit, so he lost his time there.
That'd be wide.
He's gone wide round these two corners.
Maybe he's just trying to get some temperature into those. Okay, so we've got 6 laps remaining. 6 minutes remaining. And it does look like Hindle is definitely struggling to stay within the lobby, which will please a few of the other drivers, but won't please him. Okay, so as the drivers then get themselves ready, Killer Corkin is now on a flying lap, so let's see if we can go and find him. Here we go, heading up to turn 1. Let's see what his first sector time will be. Now for Killer, he could really do with sticking it on the front row of the grid, running away and taking the victory here. So sector 1 of nothing, because he's on an out lap. The timing screen lied to me. Acorn is on an in lap. Front Row Racing GP is in the garage. My Bad is also in the garage, and Eraser, it says, is on a flying lap. I bet that'll be a lie as well, as he heads down to turn 1. Now, level of aerodynamics would be very, very important around here, but also the mechanical side of the setup of the car. If you're going to run the low aeros, you need to have grip in the car somewhere. And if anyone goes for sort of medium to high aeros, they are going to be good in the S's, but they're going to struggle down the start finish. Okay, on board then with Killer Corkin. It's time to shine, my friend. You need to win these last 3 races. So can you do it? It all starts here. A little bit wiggly on the exit, that could compromise his speed. We've got a bit of carbon fibre across the finish line. I think someone may have hit the pit wall. I could be wrong.
Adam had the wee spin in the start-finish straight.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Okay then, Killer Corkin heading into turn 1. Hard on the brakes, he's had to readjust his angle of attack. That's going to compromise him. He's now sliding all over the place, and that's that lap over. That's what I was on about with tyre temperature. You get your tyre temperature too high and you're going to suffer. A little sideways moment around 1, then it hurt him through 2 and 3. Okay, it's a Razor's turn then. The pressure's now on you. How are you going to cope with turns 1, 2 and 3? Early on the brakes, turns in, no change of direction, but he may have compromised himself through 3. Exits quite nicely, but I think it's going to be a high 22. No, it's a low 23, sector 1. He would have hoped for more on that. Hard on the brakes now into turns 4 and 5. Maybe the pressure is getting to some of these guys, or just the tricky nature of this Mexico circuit. So as he heads up towards the S's, he's going to need a phenomenal sector 2 and sector 3 time, which could come. I mean, one of the things I noticed in my own practice was overheating your tyres is a problem, but also not having your tyres at a high enough temperature starting your first flying lap could also be a problem. So a Razor then into the stadium section. How's he get on with the horrible little hairpin? He ran a little bit wide, late on the throttle, turns it in early. That could compromise his speed, but he has got time to continue on for another lap if he wishes to do so. Can he improve on his previous time? He does, goes 3rd place. Okay, Hybrid Nuke is exiting the pits to do another lap. My Bad is currently sat in 6th place. From Racing GP is out on another set of prime tyres, so he's not going for fastest lap at the moment. Interesting strategy call for him there. So My Bad through turns 1, 2 and 3. How he's had to readjust his line. That's cost him a lot. Okay, our Hybrid Nuke, he is on an out lap. A Razor, has he continued on? No. Did Killer Corkin continue on for another lap? No, he didn't, by the looks of it. Okay, from Racing GP about to continue and finish his lap. Pretty good sector 1 time there. Currently sat in 5th place on his prime tyres, and if he starts on the primes, he's going to need a very good early start of the race. Oh, Jim's struggling a little bit with the S's. Let's hope you watch the steward's guide about where the ETO lift zone is, which for the S's is just here. And I was going to say he might be on an out lap, but it might be a cancelled lap because it's not showing his sector times. So into the stadium section. Anything you've spotted, Ray? Anyone you're keeping an eye on there?
I was just keeping an eye on Front Row Racing GP on the second lap. His sector time 22.849. So, it's sector 2 time, he seems to lose quite a lot, not because he's on the prime tyres and
yep.
They've not got the grip of the options.
They really don't through the S's. Okay then, back with the Lotus driver of Hybrid Nuke, attacking turns 1, 2 and 3 again. Struggled here the last time we was viewing, he's ran wide. It could compromise him again. He is currently sat in 1st place though, so I don't think he really needs to push too much. It's only a 22.8 sector 1. He will be disappointed with that. I wouldn't be surprised, you know, if he might back out of this lap completely and just focus. Yeah, he has. Back out of that lap completely and focus on the next lap. Okay, quick look at the timing screen. So Hybrid Nuke currently on pole with Killer Corkin 2nd, a Razor 3rd, Acorn 4th, the GP 5th, My Bad 6th, Adam 4600 7th. Konzo has a quali ban. Actually, that's a good point, actually. Adam 4600 has a quali ban and is on track. That one will go to the stewards. Konzo has a quali ban, but he's going to benefit by Andy Russell, Richie Davey and Charlie all not setting a time. So instead of Konzo finishing starting down in 12th, potentially he's going to start in 8th place. Right, let's see. Have we got... Oh, it's taken us the broadcast views now because we are in the final moments of the session. Let's see. And by the looks of it, Front Row Racing GP is the only one it's going to let me go and have a look at. And he's on the prime tyres, probably be starting from 5th place. Hybrid Nuke doesn't have to put in another lap. He doesn't need to. There isn't anybody out on track at the moment that can improve on their time enough to challenge his pole position, really. So, looks like that's the grid order set then. Now, I'm fairly sure Hybrid Nuke...
back in a second, Dave.
No problem. I'm fairly sure that Hybrid Nuke was still out on track, but he may have retired from the session if he wanted to save his tyres. Mentioned it earlier on, using up all of your options in the qualifying session. If people have done 3 runs on the option tyres, they're going to have worn options in the race. So, as the Sauber Front Row Racing GP gets backed into the garage, he's going to start on the prime tyre. And it's going to be horrible on those primes at the start. It's going to be very, very difficult with drivers around him on the option tyres. But it could mean he will be quick throughout the rest of the race. For Konzo, he'll be pleased that he'll be starting sort of up in 8th place. For Hindle, he's going to be disappointed. He seems to join in, not joining, join in, not joining. Unfortunately, sometimes that's the way it goes. And there's GP retiring from the session, thankfully not leaving the session. So for Killer Corkin then, at the moment, I believe he's got 1 car ahead of him at the start, and that's Hybrid Nuke, who takes pole position here in Mexico, as we wait for whatever reason to go through to the race. So for Killer, he's going to need to get past Hybrid Nuke as early as possible and pull away, and try and gain as many places or make the gap as big as possible to Konzo. And we have seen Konzo battle his way through the field at other circuits this season, so it'll be good to see how he gets on here at Mexico. You can overtake here. There's a few tricky corners where it's perhaps advisable to either not do it or wait, but you can overtake pretty much all the way around this track. Admittedly, I still prefer...
Jim's car's still going round the track.
That's odd, because it's not letting me go and view anybody else. Oh no, I do not want to exit from the session. That's an odd one. Well, hopefully if Jim's car's still going around the track, he's not going to be starting on absolutely destroyed tyres. We'll just have to wait a few moments. And okay, why is it not letting me do anything on my controller? Right, just bear with me a moment, folks.
Adam's left the session as well. I don't know.
Well, what can you see on your screen at the moment, Ray?
The session.
The session you are trying to join or spectate is no longer available. Okay. And it's just taken me back to the lobby.
It's taking everybody, I think.
Let me have a quick look there. Right, okay. I think what we'll have to do on that one is we're going to have to go for a safety car restart. So all the drivers are going to need to reload their games, and we will get the grid order sorted out. We're going to have to bring the live stream to an end for a moment, for a few moments. So we'll be back up live in a couple of minutes' time. So just bear with us. And for all of the drivers, you need to reload your game.
Welcome back to the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez circuit, where qualifying will begin short.
Not quite crofty. Hello and welcome back to Front Row Racing round 17 in Mexico, after a little bit of drama at the end of the qualifying session there with multiple disconnection. We're going to be on for a safety car restart here. That's taken us a few moments to just get the grid order sorted because YouTube seems to have had a bit of a hissy fit. I'll have to check up on that a little later on. Okay, so we're going to be going for a safety car restart. What we're allowing the drivers to do is we've got a short qualifying session here. This is the opportunity for the drivers to get their setup on and retire from the session. The grid order is going to be Hybrid Nuke on pole position, Killer Corkin in second place. In third, we have Eraser, and in fourth, we have Acorn 95. In fifth, we've got Front Row Racing GP, and in sixth, we've got My Bad. Seventh was going to be Adam 4600, but he has a qualifying ban, so we are going to move him back to the back of the grid. So Konzo will move up to 7th place, Richie Davey 8th place, Charlie 9th, Andy Russell 10th, and then Adam 4600 in 11th. Okay, so as the drivers get themselves retired, like I said, we're going to do a safety car restart, which means I'm going to have to move out of the way. Now, for our safety car restarts, all the drivers have to do is take their time getting into position. Ray is on microphone to them, and hopefully we'll be able to let them all know exactly which positions they need to be in while they are going around. Obviously, they have been informed a few times. But it will be tricky because people like Acorn 95 got to go up to the front, and people like Konzo 1993 need to get to the back. Now, with safety car restarts, we do say that if any incidents happen during the restart, the formation laps, the car gets damaged, that driver can obviously go into the pits and rejoin the pack at the back of the field. Now, hopefully, we won't have that issue, but if we do, then the field will continue on for another lap. But hopefully, we won't have any sort of major dramas. If any of the drivers end up getting penalties during the formation laps, that's where recording their footage and putting in appeals afterwards is very, very useful. Obviously, the usual rules apply. Do not do heavy accelerating or heavy braking. Do not go too fast or do not go too slow on the floor. Hybrid Nuke has done one safety car restart so far this season and did very well. I think it might have been at Spa. For Acorn 95, though, it's going to be his first one in Front Row Racing. Hindle not been able to get back online, so unfortunately he's going to miss the restart of the race. But, I mean, one benefit of safety car restarts is we may not have the first corner major drama that could often happen. On the flip side, though, one thing I would love Codemasters to do for future games is allow the lobby host to pick the driver's starting positions. That way, in a situation like this, I could sit there and go, right, okay, he's in first, he's in second, he's in third, he's in fourth, blah, 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 start the race. And you have a normal race start. Okay, it's not perhaps realistic, but in real life, if something was to happen and people were out of position and they had to do a safety car restart, they could position them. So anyway, I'm going to get out of the way nice and early, let everyone through, let them take their time getting into position, hopefully. Just make sure I've got nobody else behind me. I think it's Ray that's behind me. One thing I don't want to do is retire too soon and have my car just go straight into the lot of them, as we see Ray's car is kind of doing. So I'm just going to give them a few moments to get themselves into some kind of order. Okay. Right, okay, so by the looks of it then, we have got Hybrid Nuke in first place and Killer Corkin in second, Eraser in third and Acorn 95 in fourth. Front Row Racing GP is in fifth, My Bad is in sixth, Konzo is in seventh, Richie Davey is in eighth, Charlie is in ninth, Andy Russell is in 10th, Adam 4600 is in 11th. So by the looks of it, they're all in position already. So it'll be all down to just getting themselves ready, getting their tyres warmed up, getting themselves prepared and going for it. At the end of this lap, So as they work their way through the S's, hopefully we won't have any major dramas. Now, we did see Hybrid Nuke have an absolutely sublime safety car restart in Spa, so hopefully he'll be on for another one here. The drivers are going to have to be careful as they get a little bit bunched up heading into the stadium section, and they will be free to overtake at the DRS line, which is the start-finish line as well. So around the Mansell curve they are about to go, and this race will be underway for the Front Row Racing World Series in Mexico. So here we go then. It's the beginning of lap 2, but it is the first lap of the race, so slipstream now going to be important heading down into turn 1. Looks like Killer Corkin is having a sneaky look, but so is Eraser. Come on, give me a better view. Killer Corkin not able to overtake by the looks of it. A little bit of a lock-up. Eraser gone wide as Acorn 95 has a sneaky lick of him. Look up the inside of him. So From a Racing GP still in 5th place, and it actually looked like he might still be on the prime tyres. So we've got a move going for the lead. Hybrid Nuke under a bit of pressure from Killer Corkin, and this is where Killer really needs to try and get past him as early as possible and pull away if he can, because Konzo, who I think I've just seen off track a little bit in the background, is right in the middle of a battle with My Bad. So he's made up 1 place already, and it's time to now try and attack the cars ahead. For Konzo, he can win the title here, but he needs to outscore his teammate. Now, if we can, we'll have a look at what tyres people are on here, and I think From a Racing GP is either struggling or he's on the prime tyres.
No,
he is on the prime tyres. Now, a few of the guys were saying that their strategies may have got a little bit messed up. We've got a contact, Ferrari, Richie Davey on McLaren of Charlie, so getting a little bit busy down at the back here. Yeah, a few. Sorry, yeah, a few of the drivers were saying that their strategies were compromised with the safety car restart, but if From a Racing GP has been able to start on the prime tyre, his strategy is still intact, but is losing places. Although actually he's looking at trying to defend Konzo and My Bad at the same time. Don't move over there! Oh, contact! Steve, I've got to admit, I don't know if you knew Jim was there or not, but he was, and you moved over. That's your strategy right out the window now. Okay, I think that's My Bad with damage. We could see that coming a mile away. Hybrid Nuke out in the lead, pulling a gap on Killer Corkin. Killer does not need to win this race. He just needs to outscore his teammate, but I tell you what, I'm wondering, you know, is Killer? No, I thought for a moment he was on the prime tyre. He's not, he's on the options. Acorn 95 up to 3rd place. It's also running the option tyre. So far so good for him. Eraser then in 4th, dropped off a little bit. Don't want to be doing that too much. And he's got Konzo behind him, who's made up 2 places in these opening laps. Go on, Ray, sounds like you want to say something.
No, sorry, I was moving my tablet closer so I could see any messages coming in.
Alright, okay. So Hybrid Nuke then sets the first real sort of fastest lap of the race in the 1:19s, and Konzo up to 5th place, not far off 4th. Richie Davey is in 6th, and I think I thought for a moment he was being overtaken, but he's not. But he has got Charlie behind him with DRS wide open, and then Andy Russell in 8th place, and then we've got Adam 4600, who seems to have he's in the pits, so he's got damage, damaged front wing. So we've got Lotus, Williams and Sauber in the pits. Now is Steve going to stick prime tyres back on, or is he going to go for the options? No choice really other than to go for the options. Adam 4600, he's gone for the prime tyre by the looks of things. Yep, it is the prime tyres on there. What about My Bad? He is on the options. Okay, Hybrid Nuke pulling out his lead. So, anything you've spotted, Ray?
No, I know that Konzo had a bit of contact with My Bad at that double right-hander.
Turn 6.
Yeah. That's all I've spotted so far. I've just gone through the drivers now. But somebody, who's that? Konzo. Eraser's up behind Konzo. Konzo's took another place then.
That could be Eraser letting him through, or perhaps Eraser's struggled a little bit through the middle sector. But yeah, Konzo now up to 4th place, so he's only 1 spot away from his teammate at the moment. And we've got a move going on in the background. Richie Davey being overtaken by Charlie with DRS. Richie probably won't be too happy about that one. But now Charlie needs to keep it nice and tidy through turns 1, 2 and 3. He's going wide. That's going to allow Richie Davey, who's on the prime tyre. That could explain why the overtake was done. And look at the trees, debris there. Richie having a sneaky look up the inside, but it's not on while Charlie's got DRS. And obviously if you do get DRS down the start finish, you also get a second dose of it after turn 3. Charlie taking a very tight line around turn 6 and possibly holding up Richie at the moment. And with dirty air, Richie's not going to want to be behind this McLaren for too long. Now, given the Mexico circuit, it's not surprising that the field gets spread out quite quick, but it's a bit of a shame to have seen that collision with Front Row Racing GP, and my bad, because Steve, on the strategy he was on, could have been very, very strong towards the end of the race, but now he's a long way down, as well as my bad and Adam 4600. But at least they've all got somebody to race. So is Richie Davey going to try and retake the position as Charlie goes very wide? Oh, and cuts Richie Davey off in the process. I wouldn't be surprised if Richie had to get on the brakes there, but DRS open as they head down towards the first corner. So go on, Ray.
Conso's going for the move in front of Acorn. He's right behind his, well, a wee bit behind his teammate now.
He is.
Killer Corkin. He's on a push.
So this is where for Killer Corkin, he needs to keep Conzo behind him. Conzo's had a very good start to the race so far, gaining 4 places in the first 6 laps, obviously being helped out with 2 of them taking each other out. But for a driver like Acorn, he's not going to be wanting to get in anybody's way. He just needs to focus on getting himself to the end of the race with a clean race. So focus now then on Conzo trying to catch up Killer Corkin, and as the last few races has been, he doesn't need to beat him, he just needs to not lose that many points to him. But Hybrid Nuke at the moment looks like he is just absolutely storming away at the front of this race. A bit of a shame that we haven't got Hindle in, because I wouldn't be surprised if Hindle had have been close to him at this time. Oh, I've just seen a car go very, very wide there. I think it was 8-bit around the Mansell curve, as Conzo's probably got DRS now, can perhaps close that gap up to Killer Corkin, but isn't going to be able to close it enough to go for an overtake, I don't think. And we've got Richie Davey making a move in the background. I think he's just overtaken a Razor. So Richie's prime tyres now are faster than the options, and the option tyres are beginning to drop off. So we could see pit stops happening anytime from this lap onwards. So back to the battle for second place. It could be that Killer Corkin is hurting his tyres. I'm guessing you just saw Acorn give Conzo a little bit of a nudge there.
Yep. Now, I think Killer's just holding his place and bringing Acorn into the battle with him and Conzo, but he just wants to be a wee bit too careful in case Conzo just gets that slipstream and gets a move done.
Now, Killer's probably had to do a little bit of a lift there, which allowed Conzo to get close, but not close enough to go for a move. He is going to be close enough for DRS down the start finish, but I've got a feeling we're going to see Killer Corkin heading into the pits fairly soon. Or is Conzo going for it? Conzo's going for it. I'm surprised at that one. And these guys being in the same team, Killer Corkin's just given Conzo the undercut. If I was Killer Corkin on that one, I probably would have gone for the pits myself. So Acorn 95 into 3rd, Richie Davey into 4th, Razor into 5th, and Charlie into 6th.
Steve's struggling. It's okay, he's done an ETL lift as well, so he was struggling through the S's.
Things when you're involved in a collision early on in the race, it is very easy to have your race concentration sort of completely taken away. I mean, even just having a big sort of sideways moment on your own is enough to break the concentration, and it's not easy then to really get back into the rhythm of what you need to be doing. And for someone like my bad from a Racing GP and Adam 4600, who in the very early stages of this race end up being quite far back, it gets very difficult to really push back into the race. I tell you what, a Razor's struggling as well, so I think their tyres are really starting to go off. Are we going to be seeing anybody else heading into the pits. Hybrid Nuke, he's in. So Hybrid Nuke into the pits. Killer Corkin's got Acorn all over the back of him, and Killer Corkin has got to pit this lap, which he is doing, and Acorn's following him in. So both of these guys then into the pits. Thankfully they are in different teams. Richie Davey continues on because he's on the prime tyres, and a Razor. Oh, and Charlie thought about pitting and then thought better of it, so he continues on. Andy Russell, also on the prime tyres, continues on. And who else have we got down there? Konzo. Where's Konzo going to come out in comparison to Killer Corkin? He's going to be miles ahead. So Konzo currently takes 5th place, but there's Killer Corkin. There's how much Killer has gifted him with the undercut. And Killer's going to struggle now to catch him back up.
Killer's on the primes and Konzo's on the big moment on options, so it might come back into play later on with them switched on tyres.
It could do, but Killer Corkin's under attack from Acorn, who is also on the prime tyre. So yeah, I mean, Killer needs to make these prime tyres work for him. Konzo needs to pull ahead or open up that gap if he can. It's not going to be easy to do though. Hybrid Nuke has come out right behind Charlie and just ahead of Andy Russell, but Hybrid is on the option tyres and is the faster driver, so should be able to get past, although Charlie's not making it easy for him. So Hybrid Nuke now takes the position. Now Richie Davey currently leading the race. He's continuing on for another lap. Is Charlie going to go for the pits this time? I think he realised he missed the pits last time, and in the pits he goes, followed by the Ferrari of Andy Russell. Nicely done, Charlie. So yeah, for Konzo, he's now done the fastest lap of the race. He needs to try and catch Hybrid Nuke if he can. We've got 2 cars battling further back, and that's Killer Corkin and Acorn. Acorn with DRS heading up to turn 1 is potentially going to have this move done. Killer's car does seem to be pretty quick.
Jumped Charlie in the pits.
Oh, so that's a move for position then. Killer Corkin trying to fight back on this move, but it's not going to happen. So you're right, Andy Russell has jumped Killer Corkin in the pits, and just ahead of them is a Razor. Just behind them is Front Row Racing GP. So these guys, one on options, Charlie now on the primes. The Ferraris, once they've both pitted, will not need to use the prime tyres again, but all of the tyres take a while to get up to temperature when they come out of the pits. Okay, Richie Davey, he's on lap 10. He's heading towards the baseball stadium on these prime tyres. Is he going to try taking them any more than 10 laps? With his teammate having just pitted, I would be surprised if we don't see him pit here. And it looks like a pit entry to me, that does. It is. So Richie Davey then into the pits. Oh, it looked like it may have been a bit of a wide entry there. And Hybrid Nuke comes around the start finish to set a new fastest lap, and we can see how much of a gap Konzo has pulled in. He can now see Hybrid Nuke ahead. The gap is 4 seconds, but Konzo would have gained a good 2 or 3 seconds potentially on the undercut he did on his teammate, and can really try and push now. Hybrid Nuke, if I remember rightly, is on the option tyres as well, so he's still to run the prime tyres in this race, and it looks like Konzo may have the speed over him at this point, unless Hybrid is just getting himself settled. Killer Corkin and Acorn still battling it out for 3rd and 4th place, both of them on the prime tyres, and this is hurting Killer Corkin's chances of beating his teammate here. He doesn't need to be held up too much while he's on the prime tyres if he wants to be able to attack back when his teammate's on the primes. So Ray, spotted anything?
Sorry, I'm still watching Charlie and Andy Russell battle, and I think Charlie's got a hot head on. He needs to try and calm it down a wee bit.
Well, being a Portsmouth supporter, he probably has got a hot head, but it ain't going to be from the sunshine. More chance of getting snowburn than sunburn down there. Okay, looks like Killer Corkin's managed to pull himself a little bit of a gap now on Acorn. He needed that, and he needs to increase that gap as much as he can. Richie Davey has come back out into 5th place, now on the option tyres, and he's not that far behind Acorn, who is on the prime, so we could see Richie Davey closing up to 4th place very, very soon. A race Let's see what tyres is he on. He's on the prime tyres, so hopefully we'll be faster later on. And here's the Andy Russell and Charlie battle that you were talking about. And it looks like we've got to move. So Charlie taking the place with DRS. Can he keep it? For the moment, it'll be a yes. We see they're not that far behind Eraser at the moment. So Eraser is potentially going to come under threat, and Andy Russell's on the option tyre, so he won't appreciate being overtaken by Charlie on those primes. From a Racing GP on the option tyres as well, which he went on to on about lap 3 or 4, so I think we might see him pitting again very, very soon. He doesn't need to use the prime tyres again in this race, so he may try taking them to 9 or 10 laps and just do option stints throughout the rest of the race. Adam 4600 is on the prime tyres, getting that stint out of the way, and Maybad is quite some way down now, 1 minute 16 behind the leader. I think he's actually got Hybrid Nuke ahead of him. Yes, he has. So Jim is now a lap down. Oh, he's just gone off track a little bit. I'm wondering if that was his double tap share to record moment. Could have been. So Hybrid Nuke then has begun lap 13, unlucky for some. Killer Corkin will be hoping it is unlucky for Konzo. But at the moment, Konzo's on for a flyer. I don't think he's not gaining on Hybrid Nuke anymore. He's dropped to second, but these tyres are now getting into that level of wear of they're going to be pitting again in a couple of laps' time. Okay, Acorn 95. I said Richie Davey will be catching up soon, and he is now all over the back of him. So Richie Davey with the option tyres could do again past us as soon as possible, because through these S's, the option tyres just give so much more grip and more speed. And Richie's, they're both off track a little bit, and Richie Davey sneakily gets the move done as Acorn struggles on his primes. I was going to say Richie's options, he's only been on them for 3 laps, so they're going to be good for another 3 and won't be pitting for another 4 or 5. But it won't be long until Richie Davey is all over the back of Killer Corkin, who on his prime tyres did pull away from Acorn, but he's now 15 seconds off the leader, which means he's 10 seconds off his teammate, which means he's going to have a hell of a lot of work to do when he puts those option tyres back on. Now, could we see Richie going for an overtake into turn 1? I don't think he's quite close enough, but it is a very, very long straight here, and he is on the faster tyres. He's gaining, but not gaining enough. Any action going on anywhere else, Ray?
No, sorry, I'm watching this battle as well.
Are you doing what Steve was doing on commentary yesterday? I was just busy watching the racing. I forgot to commentate.
No, I watched the start of that battle. I'm just going down the field now. Oh, there's Charlie, Eraser and Andy Russell all in a wee kind of group. Okay, we'll have a look at those in a moment, because Richie Davey is now all over the back of Killer Corkin, and it was through this sector where Acorn struggled on his primes. Richie was faster on the options, and you can see how much he's finding it easier through that section on the option tyres. He's going to overtake him heading down in towards turn 12. Killer trying to go defensive, but he can't. Richie Davey up the inside. Oh, it gets the move done, runs a little bit wide though, but that is a lenient area from the racing steward. So Richie Davey gains a place up to 3rd, but runs a little bit wide again. Killer Corkin though, now he's going to have DRS as a bird flies across the track. Killer Corkin's going to have DRS. Richie's defensive early. But I think Killer Corkin may just take this place back as they head into turn 1. Is he going to do it? He hasn't got the speed. Richie's trying to get back towards the racing line, but realises he can't use all of it and manages to keep the position. So you were saying about Eraser, Andy Russell and Charlie, and we've got Charlie closing up on the back of Andy Russell, onto Eraser. So Andy on his option tyres. Okay, so Andy on his option tyres has managed to get past Charlie, stay ahead of Charlie. Charlie on his prime tyres is now trying to attack Eraser, a little bit of contact, and that's bumped Eraser a little bit further down. He ain't going to be overly pleased about that one. Overtaking's one thing, bumping's something completely different. Okay. Hybrid Nuke on his option tyres. I reckon we'll see him pitting fairly soon. Could be this lap. He's not really under threat at the moment. I'll tell you what, Konzo
I was going to say Konzo's dropped off. He's dropped off a lot. He's now 7 seconds off, although he has had to get past Adam 4600. Is Konzo going for the pits? Yes, he is. So going to be trying an additional undercut now on Hybrid Nuke. So if he can try and gain 3 seconds, that's what he'll be looking to try and do. Okay, from a Racing GP, down in 9th place at the moment. How far away is he from a Razor? You're looking about 13 seconds, and a Razor can just see Charlie and Andy pulling away from him. Charlie's well wide around turn 16 there. You don't really want to be going out there. The stewards don't like it, but also it's very dirty out there. If you're off track, chances of getting punctures are very, very high. So I wonder where... Oh, my bad. We'll just see that he's pitted in the background. Just wondering where Konzo has come back out on track. Now on the prime tyre, he's just ahead of Andy Russell and Charlie. So he's come out in 5th place. Says 11 seconds off the leader, but I think it's going to be a little bit more than that, to be honest. It should be around about 20 to 26. So it will change when he goes through the next sector. But being on the prime tyres, it's a crucial... time in the race for him, and on those prime tyres he's going to realise that through these S's the cars doesn't handle anywhere near as well as it does on those option tyres. 29 seconds off the leader he is, and Hybrid Nuke is now into the pits, and it's prime tyres for him, so he's going to match Konzo for strategy. Question is, where's Konzo going to come out in comparison? I think Hybrid's going to have it comfortable, you know, because Konzo just coming around the final corner now, and Hybrid Nuke is already underway down the pit lane, not the pit lane, down the start finish, just ahead of Killer Corkin. So I think Konzo may have lost out massively on that pit stop, but it could be that he didn't like the cold tyres, and Hybrid Nuke's got to deal with that now, and also a bit of pressure from Killer Corkin. So perhaps getting the tyres up to temperature cost him a bit of time, and that might just come back into his favour. Oh, Killer Corkin! Nice drift. Not fast, but does look good. Now, for Konzo, he'll want Killer Corkin to really attack Hybrid here to try and help him out. But to be honest, Killer Corkin doesn't really need to be doing anything to help his teammate out, because Killer needs to beat him. So, to a degree, Killer just needs to, if he can, overtake Hybrid and make it difficult for him. But Killer has struggled through the S's and is now under pressure from Acorn. Oh, he's going for it up the inside into the hairpin. Oh, it was a nice try. It hasn't worked, but it was a nice attempt. So, let's see then. Konzo, as he comes through the stadium section, he's 8 seconds off the leader, but the leader is Richie Davey at the moment, who is now in the pits. So Hybrid Nuke will retake the lead, but I do think that Konzo has lost out on Hybrid Nuke there. It has cost him quite a bit, I feel. Oh, we've got another move going on by the looks of it. I think Killer Corkin and Acorn, yep, they're really battling it out and have been for the last few laps. Acorn will have DRS now. Can he get past as they head up towards turn 4 and 5? Killer's not wanting to give it up easy. Oh, but he's had to let Acorn go through. So Acorn now in 2nd place, but it will be a net 3rd, depending on what Richie Davey... Well, Ray, since you've been gone, we've had a number of pit stops, a few close calls, and yeah, quite a bit going on. Oh, Killer and Acorn both struggling now on their tyres. They've been on them for about 9 laps. It's time for these guys to get rid of their primes, because Konzo...
I was wondering why Konzo was behind.
Yeah, Konzo pitted. Yeah, he pitted a few laps ago, put the prime tyres on. But Killer and Acorn have been battling, slowing each other down, and their tyres are suffering. So it is time for these guys to get in and get rid of their prime tyres. I think Killer's trying. He just about manages to get into the pit lane. Now, where's Richie Davey? Running option tyres again. So he ran primes at the start, so he can just run the options all the way to the end. Obviously not in one stint, but he is 17 seconds off the lead and really needs to make this option stint count to try and gain at least 10 of those seconds back. Well, is he going to be able to do it? It's going to be a good question, because Charlie's not far behind him, and Killer Corkin's going to come out the pits behind Charlie. From a Racing GP, still down in 9th place. Looks like he's having a bit of a lonely race down there now, as Adam 4600 is quite far behind, about 30 seconds behind him in 10th place, and My Bad is about 30 seconds behind him in 11th. Let's see how a Razor's getting on, because I did just jump past him. I did just say that Front Row Racing GP is having a lonely race, but a Razor's just pitted and come out right behind him. So a Razor's now down to 9th place, but on a brand new set of option tyres, whereas I think Front Row Racing GPs are a little bit old. I'll tell you what you can do for us, Ray. If you just have a quick look at the race director, the in-game race director, you can tell us who's made how many pit stops.
Okay, how do you do that?
Press pause and go to the race director. Just make sure that you don't leave the session. To get rid of the menu, press pause again.
Hybrid Nuke said 2, Console 2, Acom 1, Richard Davey 2, Charlie says 1, Killer Corkin 2, Andy Russell 2, Front Row Racing GP 2, Eraser 2, Adam 4600 2, and My Bad has had 3.
Okay, so there's a rundown of who's done how many stops. Acorn I actually expected to be in the pits at the end of the lap he's just completed, but no, he's continuing on. Okay, Konzo, he's now 5.5 seconds behind Hybrid Nuke. Well, this could just simply be a case of Hybrid just looking after these prime tyres. And
GP's got through past Charlie, but Charlie's just came out the pits with no option, so... Could he sort out a strategy so at the end he's ahead of these two guys?
Quite possibly. I mean, his GP's prime stint was obviously a very, very short one. So he may be able to work it so that he is ahead of these later on, trying to take full advantage of when they were on the primes. Will it have been possible? We won't know until the end of the race. Have a look around some of the interesting views there. But I tell you what, I mean, I think a Razor may be a little bit frustrated that Charlie is ahead of him. I mean, a Razor is a quick driver. He's had a lot of bad luck throughout the races this season. All from a Racing GP struggling through the stadium section. I wonder if we're going to be seeing him pitting fairly soon. Oh, Charlie's sideways. Difficult to see exactly where they are on track, so we'll change view. But Charlie and a Razor are both going to have DRS here, so From a Racing GP may end up being a little bit of a sitting duck when it comes to fresher tyres and DRS. He's not going to want to give it up easy, but sometimes you just have to yield in that situation. Oh, Charlie, way too much curb there. He may say he was giving plenty of room, but to be fair, there was already plenty of room. Oh, My Bad's going slow to let these... he was getting blue flagged, so that's why he would have been slow. So nice to see that these guys managed to avoid him. Oh, a Razor's had to take evasive there. I wonder if Charlie was a little slower through that corner than From a Racing GP expected, which meant that a Razor had to get on the brakes early. Okay, what else have we got going on around the circuit? I'm wondering if Richie Davies catching up Acorn, and the answer is yes, he is, because he's right behind him. And Acorn, I still think, hasn't done his second stop yet. If he can actually go if he can get to lap 25, 26, he may be able to run options to the end, as Richie Davey now takes 3rd place. So I'm wondering if Acorn may be going for a 2-stop strategy here. If he is, it'll be an interesting one to see if it works. Konzo pulled another second in on Hybrid Nuke, so it's down to 4.2 seconds. So I'm wondering if Hybrid Nuke is just not overly comfortable on these prime tyres, or whether perhaps he's just pacing himself, saving a bit of fuel, managing the gap, and making sure that he can get to the lap number he needs to then bolt the final set of options on at the end of the race. But excuse me, we will have to keep an eye on that gap. Let's see, Charlie in 7th place behind Andy Russell, and a Razor has now got ahead of Front Row Racing GP, so the fresher tyres have come to benefit Charlie and a Razor. And if anyone is thinking about pitting again now, if they were to pit this lap, they'd need to go prime tyres to make it to the end. The other option is to go another 2 or 3 laps and then take the options to the end. Will the options do 10 laps? Yes, but the last 3 will be absolutely bloody awful. Okay, Richie Davey, 12.8 seconds behind the leader. And I'm just curious as to whether he's going to be able to start catching too much corner there from Richie. Yeah, if he's let's see, he doesn't have to run the primes again. He's lost a little bit of time on the leader, but yeah, he may be able to close up the gap a bit in this stint. Konzo's lost a couple of tenths on this lap. Give me a decent view, thank you. Yeah, lost a couple of attempts on this lap, so perhaps it's getting to that point now where the tyres are starting to give away a little bit of the grip that they do have. Now, Hybrid Nuke, I'm trying to think, pitted a lap after Konzo, so I wonder whether Konzo's going to be trying to go for an undercut again. If he does, he may be able to pull that 4.6 seconds down to about 1.6 seconds, which could give us a great battle at the end of the race. But on for another lap they go.
I'm quite surprised that Eraser isn't pulling out on Front Row Racing GP.
Well, it could be that the tyres are suffering a little bit. I'm trying to think, I mean, it was what, 3 or 4 laps ago that they pitted on the pitted for these option tyres. Perhaps GP's just, I don't know, a little more comfortable following these guys rather than like avoiding Charlie ahead and having a Razor attack from behind. I tell you what, we've got a right train of cars here. Acorn's got a puncture! Acorn's got a puncture and Andy Russell's into the pits. Oh, no, he's sideways.
Oh,
he's back on the track.
I was close, that was Ghost just in time. Eraser nearly went into him. Andy Russell got a puncture? I don't think so, but I think what may have happened there was he's come for the pit lane as Acorn's going slow. He's been a little bit caught out. I don't know if there was contact or not, because he did look like he ghosted him, but he's then been sort of spun a bit sideways, and I think he's ended up back on the track. He's now got to go for an additional lap to get back to the pits. But I was about to say there was like 4 or 5 cars that were beginning to get close, which was Charlie, Acorn, Eraser, GP and Andy Russell. They're really starting to come together, and then I spotted that Acorn had the puncture. Okay, how's Killer Corkin getting on his option tyres, which are looking a little bit nasty if I'm honest. That front right tyre not looking very, very friendly at the moment. I think that's at least about a 5-pinter. But up to 4th place, 24 seconds off the lead. I don't think he'll be overly pleased with his current position. I tell you what, his rear tyres look as bad as his fronts. He's going to be pitting very, very soon, I am sure. Konzo still going. I'm kind of surprised he's not gone for a pit stop there, but he is gaining on Hybrid Nuke. So while he's gaining, he may just think, I'll keep going until I'm not gaining anymore. But it'll be one of those situations where you've got to make that call right. He's just lost 3 tenths or 2 tenths in first sector, so it could be right now that he needs to pit. If he continues on, he could find that the next lap is one that's not going to be very nice. Is he going to pit? He's been struggling. He's not. He continues on. Konzo, this is the time to do it. And he goes for the pit lane, and that'll be for a set of option tyres. I'm not sure if it was a bit of a late entry there or not. It almost looked like it on one of the views. So Richie Davey sideways into the pit lane. If you're going to go in it right, you might as well go in it sideways and right. Killer, big slide.
I said these tyres were looking a bit nasty. They definitely are. Well, Konzo's in the pits, yeah, so he's had no choice really. Although Konzo's come out the pits already, so probably could have followed him in because Killer can now see him. Okay.
But you end up getting a longer lap time. It was one of the pit stops, I think, last night. There was somebody had extra time added because their car in front had pitted, and then when he came out, he left the pits and he went in, and it was as if the pit crew weren't ready for him.
Quite possible. It is quite possible. I think For Racing GP has recently pitted because Acorn is now ahead of him, who pitted after a puncture earlier on. But I'm fairly sure we've got to be seeing Hybrid Nuke coming for the pit lane now. We are. Into the pits he goes then. So for his final stop for a set of option tyres, Konzo, has he made this undercut work? I would say yes. He's going to come out just ahead of Hybrid Nuke. As his tyres are now being changed, and Konzo's going to be coming down the start-finish straight now. No, not quite yet. He may not have made it work, but he's going to be at a higher speed when he gets down there. He can see Hybrid Nuke exiting the pits now. Is he going to be able to do it? Is he going to be able to gain? No! He hasn't gained anywhere near as much as I thought he would. He is now closing the gap. And Hybrid's going to need to get his tyres up to temperature, so he has probably closed it down to about 1.5-2 seconds. Yeah, the tyre temperatures are now showing as he's gaining. Hybrid Nuke's tyres are going to take until about halfway round the lap to get up to temperature, but by that point Konzo is potentially going to be in DRS range. So this is it then, fight for victory here in Mexico. And I tell you what, if Killer Corkin stays in 4th place, this is going to be Konzo taking the championship in the World Series. So this is, I wouldn't say necessarily crucial. I mean, let's see, if Konzo finishes 2nd, it's 18 points. If Killer Corkin finishes 4th, it's 12 points. So it is crucial to a degree that Konzo can take the win here and Killer Corkin finishes 4th. If he manages that, he takes the title, although that will be provisionally, because obviously no result is confirmed until the stewards have done their thing. So Konzo then, fastest lap of a 118.3, DRS now active, now open, now in use, and Hybrid Nuke showing him the outside, heading down to turn 1.
Late on the brakes, Hybrid Nuke. Oh, a bit too much.
Go on, finish your sentence.
A bit too much corner.
Too much curb. Yep, too much curb. Konzo's coming back though, fighting through, heading up and towards turn 4 and 5. They've got to give each other a little bit of room here, which they are doing. Come on, broadcast, give us a decent view. There we go. So Konzo now ahead, but Hybrid Nuke now in position for DRS when they get back to the start finish.
Yeah, that's if he can hold on to the back of him through these S's with the dirty air. But he's doing it quite good.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't discussed dirty air throughout the race, but the dirty air around here is very, very dirty. And it's not the fun kind of dirty either. It's the horrible understeer, sending you off track dirty. But he is still in range for a DRS overtake, so let's see how they get on heading down into turn 1. So go on, Ray, talk us through it.
Well, I'm on console, so I'll look backwards. Right, so Hybrid Nuke will be getting a slipstream, and he'll have the DRS open. As you can see, his speed is massively greater. He's down the inside, late on the brakes. Okay, around that corner, I think I was in the wrong camera angle for that. Get a second dose of DRS, but Konzo's still holding on.
Well, Hybrids probably have to do a bit of an ETO lift there. Nearly. Hybrid Nuke.
I hope this doesn't continue to the S's, because we've seen what that counts.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say that Hybrid Nuke probably had to do an ETO lift there, which, even though he's had the DRS, would have given Konzo half a chance of attacking back. But that's why we have the the ETO lifts and the ETO lift zones. All the drivers know where the ETO lifts need to be done, so if they see a driver off track, they know on a certain part of track they may be a little slower. And also, I mean, that shows there that any gain that may have been found in taking too much curb was ultimately lost in the ETO lift zone. But Hybrid Nuke retaking the lead. Konzo's still there in DRS range. If you want to have a quick flick through the rest of the field and see what's going on, while I just see if Konzo can get a move done. I mean, it's a situation where if you can't get past and pull away, perhaps into turn 1, 2 and 3, it might be worth just holding off on that DRS and going for the move through between 3 and 4 as Hybrid Nuke fights that challenge off quite nicely. It may have cost Konzo too much, but with DRS now active again, he may be able to have a look into the braking zone. No, not quite able to do it. They are starting to catch up a back marker, so they're going to have to hope that that doesn't hold them up at all. Now,
did both Ferraris use a prime?
Both Ferraris started on the prime tyre. Ferrari Racing GP is up to 6th place. Now, you said it earlier, would he be able to jump a few people? He has now jumped Acorn and Charlie and a Razor, so I don't know if anything happened there or whether it's simply... No, Acorn is in 5th place, sorry, but he has jumped Charlie, a Razor and Andy Russell, so perhaps through the pit stops or the last round of pit stops he's able to really gain, although he may come under threat from them because they're not that far behind him now, but they have got Adam 4600 between them.
Andy Russell's went back to prime tyres. Interesting.
I wonder if perhaps he was out of option tyres or not. I don't know. Obviously, we saw him go sideways in the pit lane and end up back on the track. So, yeah, or either that or it could be a bad bit of work from the pit crew there. We have known the Ferrari team to do that, put the wrong tyres on at times.
Konzo's in first.
So Konzo then taking the lead. They've got a few laps to go, so I don't think that battle is over with. So as you say, Andy Russell is on the prime tyre, down in 9th place, a little way off a Razor, who's now on the options, and Charlie is just ahead of him on the options, and they're not, like I say, they're not that far behind from a Racing GP. So this is a battle that in the last 3 laps could really come together. Okay, so as you said, Konzo has retaken the lead, a Hybrid Nuke right behind him and potentially in position to have an attack down the start-finish once again. So
could that be the back marker trying to clear the back marker, or did they clear the back marker?
I'm not sure, but here we go then, Hybrid Nuke with his DRS wide open, pulling alongside, and should be popping into view. There we go, and pulling ahead, taking the racing line for the better braking, the better line into turn 1. Not a bad camera angle this one. Oh, Hybrid Nuke's a little bit wide, they'll have to do a lift, pop open that DRS again though. But this is a battle that, I mean, they keep changing positions down into turn 1. It could be whoever overtakes into turn 1 on lap 34 wins this race, because after that there isn't an easy overtaking place left for them. No, at the end of lap, at the start of lap 34, whoever overtakes into turn 1 at the start of lap 34 could be the one that goes on to win the race, because like I say, it's going to be difficult to overtake around the rest of the circuit. These guys have pretty much been overtaken into turn 1 and then following each other all the way back to turn 1. So through the stadium section for the 33rd time, pretty much, although depends on how many you count in qualifying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't do okay, I tell you what, Hybrid pulled out a little bit of a gap there. I wonder if Konzo's just turned the engine down for a couple of corners. Oh, come on. They really need to work on the broadcast views on this. Some of the camera angles are terrible. If you've got it on broadcast view, leave it on broadcast cameras. Don't switch to on-car cameras, because then we end up switching around cameras to try and find a better one. But Hybrid Nuke is pulling a gap here, so I wonder if Konzo is just trying to save a little bit of fuel, cool his tyres down a little bit for one last attack on the final lap. Or maybe he, I don't know what it is, his engineers heard what I've said about be the car that overtakes into turn 1 on lap 34, so they've worked out that if it have overtaken him on that last occasion, he would have been being overtaken on lap 34. So sneaky.
Charlie, sorry to interrupt, Charlie's caught up with Front Row Racing GP.
He has caught up with him.
Open. He's gaining slowly, but he's getting there.
Down into turn 1, GP holds on to the position, but I'll let you keep watching that. I'm going to have a look now as Hybrid Nuke and Konzo come around the final corner to start the final lap of the race. Is this where Konzo's going to put the foot through the through the floor on the throttle? Here we go. He's fast. He's looking very quick. I don't know if he's close enough to make the move. Is he? He's gaining. He's going for it. Up the inside he goes. Can he make it work? No. He's had to back out of it. So Hybrid Nuke keeps the lead for the moment, but can Konzo then capitalise heading up to turn 4? If he doesn't get a move done here, it could all end. But he's looking at turn 4. Is he going to be able to get it slowed down in time? Side by side, no, he can't get past. Trying to look for a switchback, but he can't get the throttle down without it losing a little bit of the rear end. So Hybrid Nuke defending and working hard to try and keep this lead at the moment. And now we're into the difficult section, the S's for the final time for these guys. And we have seen overtakes happen down into turn 12, so that'll be the last opportunity, I think, perhaps for Konzo to really try and take the win here. But that is turn 12, and around they go. The hairpin, it could be, but he's not close enough to do it. So through the stadium section, they will go for the final time. And unless anything really dramatic happens, Hybrid Nuke is going to come around the final corner for the final time and take the provisional victory here in Mexico, followed by Konzo. Now in third place, we'll see if we can find third place. It's not letting me move on to anybody. They must have already crossed the line, maybe. No. Richie Davey, third place. There we go. So round the final corner for the last time for Richie Davey to take third position. Killer Corkin in fourth. That'll mean that if the positions stay as they are, the championship... I don't know. Actually, no. I think if the positions stay as they are, with the 6-point gap, that could be it. Acorn 95 has managed to recover back to 5th place after having a puncture earlier on. Charlie did get ahead of Front Row Racing GP, who is still right behind him. So by the looks of it, 6th place on the road then for Charlie, with Front Row Racing GP in 7th. Managed to get himself back into this race, but after that collision earlier on, it would have been interesting to see where he could have finished without that happening. A Razor, 8th place. Oh, and then we've got Andy Russell, so wide, he was nearly in Brazil, taking 9th place. And that'll be it. We can't see any more because the rest of them have been lapped. Well, it was a race that had parts of it which were quite dull and boring, and then parts of it which were very exciting. A very, very close end to the race, and I think we'll have quite an interesting podium interview. One of the reasons why I have emphasised about provisional results here is obviously we have seen a few cars off track a little bit throughout the race, so until the race directors and stewards have gone through everything they need to go through, no result is confirmed. So Killer Cork and Konzo can't be confirmed as title winner and runner-up just yet. But a very interesting race there. With Hybrid Nuke taking the victory, Konzo 2nd place, Richie Davey in 3rd, Killer Cork in 4th, Acorn 95 5th, Charlie in 6th, Eraser in 7th, from Racing GP in 8th, Andy Russell in 9th, Adam 4600 in 10th, My Bad in 11th. Quick look at the race director and... Sorry, hang on a second, Ray. And let's see all of the incidents on that one. Okay. Go on, Ray, what was you about to say?
I think Richard Davies gone.
No, he'll still be online. He did that last week. So as we get ready then for the podium interviews, I think we could be in for an interesting conversation there as we wait for them to come and join us. So as they do, drivers, if you could please make sure that you have your microphone set to share, and please do not swear.
I'm sure Richard Davies offline.
I shall have a look. Let's see. Okie doke.
Yeah, he's offline.
Okay, Richie Davey has gone offline, so if he happens to be watching the live stream at the moment, Richie, get your ass back on. Oh, okay. Well, we'll take a moment while Konzo goes and deals with his comfort break. A very interesting race there, and I mean, me and you, Ray, we didn't pick a driver of the day. But I think, to be fair, we kind of had to wait until the race had finished. But also, I think, I mean, something you said and Steve said on commentary yesterday was sometimes it's very easy to pick a driver of the day and then find out after over the next few days that they've ended up getting a shed load of penalties, and then they're not going to get driver of the day anymore. So I think for the last few races, I might leave driver of the day until we know the penalties have been dealt with.
Yeah, that's what that's what I thought, and I think Steve thought the same. Or he just agreed. Oh, Richie Davies back online. I'll just invite him.
Because you just realised his podium interview.
Yeah, yeah. So one of them there messaging him, Richie, get back online. Either that or he really needed a pee.
I needed one there in the last 5 laps.
Oh, I know. I was pretty much halfway through bursting. I've got 2 bottles of Lucozade.
Well, sometimes when a championship is on the line and you're not feeling too well, you do end up sitting there thinking, okay, if I'm going to end up crapping myself, what am I going to do? What's more important, going to the bathroom or winning a title? Now, I'm not saying I've done that, but I have been in the situation where I have been unwell and I have had to sit there and think, okay, if it's going to happen, what are you going to do? And I won't tell you what my answer would have been. Okay, Richie Davey has now joined us on the podium, so if everyone can make sure that they have got their microphones set to share, and please keep the swearing down to a minimum. So we have Hybrid Nuke, our provisional winner, joined by Konzo and Richie Davey. So Hybrid, all looking nice and comfortable until those last few laps?
Oh, I called it. I knew it. I knew it was going to happen. I said if Konzo gets a good start, it's going to be me and him battling. It just had to happen.
Well, I must admit, halfway through the race, I was thinking on the prime tyres, maybe you're just pacing yourself, just managing the gap. But were you actually just struggling for pace? And that's where the time was coming from. The losing the time to him was coming from.
No, prime tyres, I was pretty chilled on those. I was just trying to eat as much as I could into the next stint, so I didn't have to, so I could just push it. I knew there was going to be a battle between us. And then he took that pit stop earlier than me, and I thought, oh no,
Yep.
what have I done?
Yep, I was surprised that you didn't pit on the same lap that he did. Obviously you were ahead and it would have been up to you when to pit, but I was surprised that you didn't pit on that same lap, because the final undercut that he did, essentially it did gain him 2.5 seconds and put him within DRS range, which then meant you were stuck in that battle of overtaking into turn 1 for the next 7 laps. So was there any point of that where you're thinking, oh, he's going to have me here?
No.
Oh.
I saw him. I thought I could be in front of him coming out of the pits, but really it was mostly on the last lap that I was banking my whole pit stop strategy on.
Yeah.
He's got 8 laps and I've got 7 laps. I'm hoping, since it's quite a long track and there's quite a lot of high speed turns, that 1 lap is going to guarantee me that win.
Okay, well done on taking the victory there. We will come back to you in a moment. So on to Konzo. Konzo, did the call come? Do not overtake him on lap 33. Wait until the final lap and overtake him into turn 1.
It would make sense for the that big straight. I mean, I don't know how many times I got in front of him in the last few laps, but every time he got in front, somebody got in front, but another person was getting past in the straight. So.
Yep. So on lap 33, it almost looked like you backed off a little bit. So was that tactical? Was it a tactical call so that it would be you attacking on that final lap rather than possibly him attacking on the final lap?
I think I went over the track, so I did a wee bit of a back off just to start at lap 33. I think it was just in that first zone.
Okay.
So that put me back a wee bit, but I made it back up again.
Okay, so did you think you was going to have him?
I thought I could have him because the times that did overtake him, it was mostly in them sweepy corners just after the second DRS straight. So I thought I could have him, but he defended it well that time, so that was it.
He did defend quite well. Okay, on to the rest of your race then. Obviously started with a qualifying ban from the previous race. Benefited by both Ferraris not qualifying, Adam 4600 also having a qualifying ban, and somebody else not putting a qualifying lap in. So starting 7th place actually benefited you quite a lot. It looked like it took a little bit of time to make up a few places in the early laps. But obviously, MyBad and GP having their collision sort of gifted you 2 places there. How difficult were those first few laps? Or did you find it just, right, take it easy and we'll get through where we can?
First few laps, I was just trying to concentrate, keep in place. Because I wasn't too sure if Richie Davey was going to get me or not straight. But I think I put a big enough gap behind for that. But I did save up 1.5 kilos of fuel after about 4 laps, so when I had the gap and I had Rich, I was basically running Rich for mostly the whole race there after the first stint. So. Yeah,
I mean, we didn't discuss it much in the commentary, but Mexico, for whatever reason, is a fuel-saving track. You can save fuel on Rich around Mexico. So you can run Rich around here a lot. So having that bit extra early on can be very, very handy. Now, for a little bit of information, if the positions stay as they were on the track there, the gap between yourself and Killer Corkin would be 50 points, which means it would be still mathematically possible for Killer Corkin to win. He just needs someone to crash you out of both races, and then hope that he's won more races than you. And if you happen to have won the same amount of races, it would probably go down to who's qualified better. So yeah, had you managed to steal that extra position off Hybrid Nuke and the positions then stay the same, that would have confirmed you as champion today, but that's not going to happen, I'm afraid. But obviously the results are provisional anyway until the stewards have done their thing, so you never know what could happen over the next few days. But anyway, well done, good battle, especially towards the end. We'll move on to Richie Davey now. So Richie, it's become your tactic to not qualify, and it looks like it might have worked again.
Yep, sure has.
So got rid of the prime tyres early on, battling with Charlie, who's on his option tyres. I'm sure he was giving you some grief about that one. So once you'd got the prime stint out of the way, what were your realistic thoughts of where you might finish in the race?
I didn't have a clue, man. Don't know what was going on. There's that many pit stops happening. I just kept driving.
It's the only thing you can do, really, because there was so many pit stops. I mean, people doing 3 stops, 4 stops. I mean, we're not going to get to talk to your teammate, but I am curious what Andy Russell would have said about his pit entry, where he ended up completely sideways and back on the track. Or is that not repeatable?
He said he hit someone on the way to the pits or something.
Yeah, I think Acorn 95 was on his way into the pits with a puncture as Andy sort of came into the pit lane, and on my view it looked like Andy ghosted, but then all of a sudden he's sideways and the next thing we know he's going down the start finish line. So yeah, I can imagine that was a bit of a hairy moment for him. Okay, so how was your car then on the prime tyres? Were you finding it difficult to keep up with the likes of Charlie or Razor on their options? And once you were on the options, did you find it easy to stay away from them but just couldn't close the gap to the front two?
Yeah, it was pretty easy, to be honest, apart from the top 2. I was only worried about Killer Corkin, that was it.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's true. He was on the option tyres at the end, but I think with him having to use the primes in the middle of the race, it kind of benefited you with you having got rid of them early on. What was I going to say? Okay, it looks like your World Series crown is going to be handed over potentially to Konzo, so any words of advice for him going into the final 2 races of the season?
I actually enjoy him.
I'd have said crash.
Yeah,
Let me
Enjoy
win
it,
one.
Yeah, let somebody else win.
I'll
But
see
yeah,
if I can tie it up before the last race, then I might start at the back.
I've
well,
only won one race, and that was because Conzo never raced.
well, that's the way racing goes sometimes. That's the way racing goes. Okay, well done, Richie, and we'll move back on to Hybrid Nuke then for final comments.
Who won?
Hybrid Nuke did. Okay, Hybrid. You were talking to me beforehand about qualifying lap times. What happened? You only did a 17.0.
I know. I did go out on that. I did go back out just to see if anybody was going to beat my lap. And I saw somebody go around the last corner. Saw them go over the line, and the times didn't change, so I just backed out of it.
Fair enough. Obviously, you were saying before.
17 is a pole position. I'll take it.
That is true. You see, that's how I was thinking yesterday. So, well, that's the lap time I've done. I know I can go faster. If it's pole, it's pole. If it's not, it's not.
Exactly.
You see, so now you know why it's not always a surprise if we don't put the fastest laps in. But anyway, right, okay, we'll bring this to an end then. So thank you very much to Hybrid Nuke, Conzo and Richie Davey. Also thank you to the rest of the drivers that were in the race. I'm sure we'll get some more information about how their races went. And live next on the Front Row Racing YouTube channel will be the FRRI Days Cup. That'll be tomorrow 7:30 PM around Mexico, and that's our feeder system into our F1 leagues. Last little bit of information is I know people what's going to be happening for our next season. So here's a little bit of an announcement for you. We're not going to say anything until this season has been done. And when I say that, we're going to announce one thing before the season is done. Everything else we're going to wait until this season is over. So if you're impatient, that's not our problem.
Yes.
What can I say? I'm a sadomasochist when it comes to Formula 1. But no, so yeah, I know people want to know, but we won't say anything until this season is done. So yeah, sorry about that one, but that's the way it's going to go. Okay, so next up for the World Series will be next Thursday for round 18 in Brazil, where it is Conzo's next chance of taking the title. If he hasn't already done so, we'll find out when the review goes up on Monday. Thank you very, very much for watching. We've been Front Row Racing, and we'll see you all again soon.
Thanks, guys.
That's a long wait.